A huge shout out to Billy Kills for supporting the channel on Patreon. One that I've been meaning to play for a while is Gonti Lord of Luxury, and we are up against Yorion Sky Nomad. Don't think I've played against Yorion in 1v1. Yeah, I don't think I have. I might have done. But we've got a half decent hand to start things off thanks to the Soul Ring. Our opponent goes for Sleight of Hand. We can get down Expedition Map now, can't we? Can't crack it on turn 1, unfortunately. But that can take us into, yeah, we're probably going for Urborg. And that way we'll be able to get black mana with the Phyrexian Tower, and then we won't mind if we draw into Cabal Coffers later on. A Thought Vessel from our opponent. And, oh wow, they've got a decent start of their own. There's not a whole lot we're going to do about rocks in this deck. We do have Karn, Meteor Golem, Oblivion Stone. But yeah, I don't think there's too much that we're going to do here. Let's go for the Expedition Map. Then we'll go in for the Mind Stone, I think. Then it's Scroll of Fate from our opponent. They can get down manifested cards and then flicker them with Yorion. We get into another rock. Let's play our Phyrexian Tower. Yeah, we can go Charcoal Diamond and our Commander, can't we? So let's go for the Commander first. And we'll have a look at the top 4 cards, I think it is, with Gonti. Alright, Tezzeret the Seeker. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. What else is there? Glimmer Point Stag, don't particularly care about that. Winds of Abandon would be a decent one, but we've got plenty of removal in this deck. Let's go for Tezzeret the Seeker. And then I'm going to risk... Yeah, our opponent might have some means of enchanting Gonti, but we'll still be able to sacrifice it with the Phyrexian Tower, even if they do go for Dark Steel Mutation or something like that. It's Imprisoning the Moon that we want to be watching out for, really. Manifesting a card at the end of the turn. Obviously, we don't know what that is yet. Might find out this turn, though, if they're going for their Commander. Not going for their Commander, going for Nevermaker. Put a non-land card, or non-land permanent, on top of its owner's library. And we get into Undying Evil. That's really good. So if they go for putting our Gonti on top, we can sacrifice it in response and put Undying Evil on there before we sacrifice it. So, let's see here. Tezzeret. Don't know if I want to go for Tezzeret yet. We could go with this. We could go for the Helm of Possession, I think it's called. Take control of one of our opponent's things. Let's go for the Burnished Heart first of all. And then we can get some lands out with the Burnished Heart on our opponent's turn. We can also hold on to Undying Evil if we want to. So let's offer up the trade to our opponent. Our commander does have Death Touch, so they might not want to block here. And they don't. This is the good thing about Gonti. Much like the Maelstrom Wanderer, you don't mind Gonti dying or going back into the command zone and being forced to recast it because you just get more stuff off of your opponent. They obviously go for the Manifest again. And with only 1 card in our opponent's hand, well, they haven't been through the draw step yet, with 2 cards in our opponent's hand, I dare say we will see their commander this turn. Okay, that is the type of enchantment I was talking about. When it enters the battlefield, exile a target creature an opponent controls until On Thin Ice leaves the battlefield. Now the problem is, with Yorion, they can choose not to exile this, so it's not like we can put our commander under On Thin Ice and then they're forced to flicker that and give us our commander back. I don't think that's the case. You do choose with Yorion. Yeah, it's any number of permanents. So in that case, we go for Undying Evil onto our commander. And then we sacrifice it with the Phyrexian Tower. And that gives us some mana. We're not returning it to the command zone. We're putting it in the graveyard so that it comes back with Undying. And then we get another trigger out of it. Let's see here, the Spreading Seas. which should be a good one to take away from them. Prophetic Prism, I think I would rather they don't have Eldrazi Displacer. And if we can get into a colourless source, Eldrazi Displacer would actually be really good for us because we can flicker our commander with it. And, oh, of course, we do have the rocks that give us a colourless mana. So yeah, we'll be able to make good use of Eldrazi Displacer. Our opponent's going through to combat now, so we'll use the floating mana and get rid of the Burnished Heart. And then Nevermaker is coming down. They can still go for their commander and put our Gonti on top. If they decide to put Gonti on top with the Nevermaker, I really don't care about drawing into that and casting it again next turn. I would think they would go for Scroll of Fate. Yeah, you could activate Scroll of Fate, get another Manifest creature into play, and then untap the Scroll of Fate with your commander. But it doesn't seem as though they're going for that. Yes, they are, waiting for the commander to come in first before they do that. So now they've got another Manifest creature to flicker. Let's see which 3 creatures they get into here. Flickering pretty much everything. Alright, getting rid of our Soul Ring, so we draw into Soul Ring next turn. Might be worth us going for Necropotence if our opponent's going to try and Fate Seal us, or Reality Acid. Yeah, plenty of enchantments and stuff like that in a deck like this, which is pretty bad against a black opponent. Pretty bad for us as a black opponent. But just trying to get rid of our mana at this point. Reality Acid comes in on the Charcoal Diamond. And then on Thin Ice goes on to our commander. So we will, yes, we will put it in the command zone. So obviously getting into the Soul Ring. So let's just get down our commander again, I think. Let's see here. We've got Charming Prince. There's Detention Sphere. Yeah, we'll trigger the Nevermaker. They're going for Detention Sphere. We just want to keep them off of flickering their commander, really. They've got no cards in hand, so they are in top deck mode with that. I say we just go for the Scalding Tarn here. Oh, can we not play lands? You can tell I've never played Gonti before. Okay, so we can't play lands apparently. Should have gone for something else entirely. Yeah, I was actually looking to go in for the Eldrazi Displacer there. Okay, we'll just hold up the Phyrexian Tower in that case. And then if we want to sacrifice our Gonti, we can go for Reanimate next turn. Or if they destroy it somehow, they're more likely to exile it or enchant it in an Azorius deck. Coveted Jewel for them. And I think they draw cards with that. Yeah, draw 3 cards, so if they can flicker their commander, they can flicker this from their commander's ability and draw 3 more cards. And then we can gain control of this somehow. Whenever 1 or more creatures an opponent controls attack you and they're not blocked, that player draws 3 cards and gains control of it. Okay, well, we're going to struggle with that with the current board state. Going in at us with 2 things here. Yeah, if they flicker this, oh, they can turn it face up at any time for its mana cost. Yeah, I'm not going to risk losing Gonti at this point because we don't have a heap of mana to go for with that. Plus we want something on the Phyrexian Tower, so we get into a swamp. That's good. I say here we go for the Tezzeret, the Seeker, and then we'll minus him down by 4, and we'll go in for that Helm. Yeah, Helm of Possession, that comes straight into play. So we can sacrifice our commander and then reanimate it. And then maybe it's just Read the Bones after that. Or maybe we want to get down this Eldrazi Displacer. Anyway, we'll swing into our opponent. Okay, going for the Nevermaker in response to blocks there. So I think I didn't think they were going to block there. They obviously want rid of the Helm or our commander or something. We're going to take control of their commander. We're going to remove Gonti from combat here by sacrificing it to the Helm. Return it to the command zone. No, we're going to leave it in there, and we'll just have to hope that our opponent doesn't have counter magic for the Reanimate. So, in fact, not going for Eldrazi Displacer. Let's go for Reanimate onto Gonti. And luckily for us, that does manage to come back into play, so we'll get another card from our opponent. And we're not going to take a land this time. This is exactly the type of card that I was worried about from our opponent. Cloud, what is it called? Cloud Post? Or no, that's the land, isn't it? There's another card like this that brings it back under your control, whether you own the card or not, but I think this puts it back under its owner's control. Yes, we'll take it anyway, because it'll be good for our commander. And then get it back round to our opponent. So hopefully we can keep hold of our opponent's Yorion. They go for a manifest, and then casting something at the end of the turn. Oh no, just going for an untap on the Basalt Monolith. Just one counter left on the Reality Acid now, and we will lose our Charcoal Diamond. And still, our opponent is going in. Oh, this gives it flying as well as lifelink, so we couldn't have blocked this anyway. I thought it was just lifelink, but alright, we'll just take the hit from there. I was contemplating blocking that before, but apparently we could never have blocked that. Charming Prince, we just put that on the bottom, didn't we? Oh, of course, they shuffled with the Arid Mesa, so getting into the Charming Prince this turn, I think. Exile another creature you own. They either want to flicker one of these or go for the Nevermaker. Yeah, that's one way of getting their commander back. And how does the rebound on this work as well? If you cast it from your hand... Oh, right, well, we're not casting it from our hand, so the rebound doesn't work there. Okay, Charming Prince coming down. We'll have to sacrifice Yorion in response to this, I imagine. We'll force them to point the Charming Prince there first. So let's go for Phyrexian Tower and exile that. Or sacrifice it even, not exile. And I think they've actually got the mana to cast it again now, so we're going to have to go for Ephemerate onto Gonti when they point the Nevermaker at our commander, assuming that that's what they point it at. So there it is. Can't see us winning this one, to be honest. They're getting a hell of a lot of use out of this Scroll of Fate. I think that's what is... yeah, I think that's what's doing us here. Anyway, they're going to flicker a bunch of stuff. I think they can keep the light form even though it's an aura. I think that can come in attached to something. The Reality Acid leaves play, as does the Nevermaker, so we're going to lose our Charcoal Diamond. Nevermaker gets pointed at the Helm of Possession, so we're going to lose that. And we're going to lose the Charcoal Diamond. We'll at least draw into the Helm of Possession. Let's try and get into something with this Ephemerate. I'm hoping that we can use colourless mana on the Ephemerate. We'll soon find out, because I want to wait and see what our opponent points at our commander, if anything. What else have they gotten into? Nothing much really, just a bunch of lands. I mean, it's decent ramp in an Azorius deck, but they can sort of, not quite infinite, but they can do a weird loop here with Charming Prince and Yorion. Yorion only triggers at the end step, which I realised in my multiplayer shenanigans with that deck. So we'll only see that at the end of our opponent's turn, but that pretty much seals the game for them here, I think. We're going to draw some cards with the Coveted Jewel entering. Light form will be attached to a manifest creature, and then on Thin Ice is getting pointed here, so we'll try an Ephemerate, our Gonti. Actually, make sure it goes to exile first. And we can use colourless mana on that, that's good. So Gonti leaves and comes back into play. Spreading Seas is back again. Yeah, we're not getting much of anything from our opponent, really. Yeah, we'll just go for Solemn Simulacrum. I think our opponent's got us here. We get back into Helm of Possession. So why don't we, first of all, go for Solemn Simulacrum. Get a land into play. And then we'll sacrifice the Solemn Simulacrum to get down the Helm of Possession. That'll draw us a card as well. Okay, Stranic Resonator will help us if we can manage to get out from under our opponent's engine here. We just have to try and keep stealing their commander away from them. Actually swing in with the Gonti. They probably block with Nevermaker again. Yeah, I'd have half a mind to actually allow that, to be honest. Okay, going for a manifest card. They want to block here because they don't want us to take the Coveted Jewel from them, although they'll take the Coveted Jewel back from us with the flying creatures at the end, or not at the end of the turn, during their next turn. Yeah, so blocking the manifest creature. Oh, we did draw cards. I'm totally not understanding what this does. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls attack you, and they aren't blocked, that player gains control of it and draws 3 cards. Yeah, well, it was blocked, so I don't understand. Yeah, I'm obviously misunderstanding that. We'll kill off the manifest creature, assuming that they can't flip it over. And it turns out that was a Reflector Mage. That's a good one to get rid of. Okay, so we've got 3, 4, and 5 mana. I think here we just go for the Myriad Landscape. We can get down the Eldrazi Displacer. And I don't know if we'll be able to make use of it this game, but yeah, we'll try and ride it out anyway and see what happens. I think our opponent's got us here. Here comes Yorion. We might have a decent chance if we can get rid of the Nevermaker, to be honest. In order for us to have any chance, we'd need to get rid of both Charming Prince and Nevermaker. Yeah, they're going after their own Eldrazi Displacer, so let's go for taking control of Yorion, and we'll sacrifice the Displacer. I was hoping to keep that, obviously, but at least we don't have to sacrifice our commander now. Turns out we don't want to be casting Gonti over and over again, not in every situation. Reality Acid gets rid of our Sol Ring. They'll still get all of their stuff back in during the... is it the next end step? Yeah, so it's during the next end step, which is on their turn. They'll get all their stuff back. They didn't exile quite everything this time. Meteor Golem goes after the Helm of Possession, I'll bet. Yeah, there we are. And that's a really good one to flicker as well. So they get their Yorion back. And then at the end of the turn, the Charming Prince comes back. Reality Acid comes back. They didn't get to attack us, so we still keep this thing. But on thin ice, we'll get rid of our commander now. The Charming Prince flickers the Yorion until the end of our turn as well. They've got a Soul Herder now, so that will get a bunch of plus counters on it over the course of the game. Return it to the command zone. Yes, we don't want to leave it in exile. Now what we can actually do here is sacrifice the Mind Stone, one to draw a card, but also to get rid of the Reality Acid. Kaya's Ghost Form is a good way of keeping us in our commander as well. How much does it even cost now? I think it's 8 at the moment. Yeah, it's 8. So I think we should go for that. And that has us look at the top 4 again. What is Watch for Tomorrow? That's the card advantage one. Yeah, Hideaway. So I think we definitely go for Venser there. Not that Venser's going to do us much good, I don't think. Go for Kaya's Ghost Form on our commander. Okay, Swords to Plowshares on our commander. Yeah, I mean, they've certainly got us here. Might as well sacrifice it and get a bit of mana. We will put it in the command zone, and then we'll also go for a Mind Stone sacrifice to get rid of this Reality Acid. Okay, Panharmonicon. Yeah. Does our opponent just have us next turn? I don't think they quite have us. Let's try and get into some mana with the Myriad Landscape. Yeah, I tried to keep out Exsanguinate and Torment of Hailfire because everyone uses them as finishers in black decks, but in situations like this I might have to go for including that because it's pretty much our only means of taking our opponent out now, I think. So Yorion comes back, they flicker some stuff, I think they take us down to about halfway, they get their jewel back, and that takes them into 4 cards. Yeah, so we obviously weren't blocking them here, and they got control of the jewel, which is how it should work. When we blocked them before, maybe it's because they blocked with a manifest creature and it didn't count as blocking for some reason. Yeah, I think this thing is bugged, unless there was something that I wasn't understanding there. Taking us down to 3, further than I thought they would take us, surprisingly. And yeah, just flickering a bunch of stuff again. I mean, this is exactly what a flicker deck in general wants to do. I really used to enjoy Afara in 1v1, but Yorion is the flicker commander to be using now. The fact that it's an ETB itself is just way better than any other flicker commander you can use, including Brago, in my opinion. And we're seeing that here. So I think they just flickered their Yorion straight away with the Soul Herder, so they get a bunch of ETBs with the Yorion again now if they want to. Yeah, getting rid of a bunch of stuff, making the Soul Herder massive. 9+1/+1 counters on it. Yeah, don't think there's much of anything we can do there. Even if we bounce this thing with Venser, we still die next turn. Let's try our hand at a Read the Bones. See if we can get into a board wipe or something. Well, we can't cast both of those, unfortunately. We're 1 mana short. That could gain us a bit of life. But yeah, I don't think either of those are going to help us in this situation. We really want a board wipe. Yeah, no board wipe or tutor for us to make use of, unfortunately. So let's go out on our own terms. We'll go Necropotence and pay 1 life. And there we go. The first visit to Gonti didn't go too well for us, but in all fairness, we're against the incredibly oppressive Yorion. I think this is a really, really powerful commander, as we saw in this game, so yeah, I don't really feel too ashamed of losing that one. Be sure to let me know if you want to see more from Gonti, and I will see you all in the next one, I hope. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you do want to see more from the channel. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.